Hello, how are you? By any chance, have you ever noticed your hands trembling in your daily life? This is very common for many people, and a lot of people get scared that it might be a more serious condition, like Parkinson's disease, for example. Of course, it could be a more serious condition like that, but usually, for most people, it isn't. This could be related to blood sugar, to your diet, and making the right changes to your diet and lifestyle can help a lot. You can also complementarily improve this shakiness. I'm going to tell you everything about this. You won't want to miss it. Before we start, I want to know, do you actually experience trembling? Do you feel your hands shaking in your daily life, like when you pick up a cup, sign something, or grab your phone to talk to someone? Is your hand shaking more or less? How long have you noticed this happening? Does it shake every day or only in certain situations? Tell me a little about this in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. And if you can, go ahead and like the video. That's really important to me. And if you know someone who struggles with this and wants to learn more, share this video. Let's spread this chain of kindness. That's what I want here on the channel. Many people, when they think about trembling, about hands shaking, about this instability in being able to keep the hand still, immediately think of something more serious, like Parkinson's disease. Of course, this can happen to some people, but that's not the most common cause of hand tremors. Surprisingly, one of the most frequent causes is actually related to glucose levels, to blood sugar fluctuations in the body. Because when glucose drops very quickly in the bloodstream, the body signals this to your brain as an emergency. It needs that glucose there at an ideal level to perform its functions. If your blood sugar drops too quickly, it triggers the sympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for alertness and adrenaline. This releases more adrenaline to help stabilize your blood sugar levels and bring your plasma glucose back to normal. This adrenaline also causes trembling, that fine tremor, sweating, the person sweats cold, has a racing heart, a feeling of weakness, and even sudden anxiety. So a lot of people think I'm nervous and that's why I'm shaking, but in reality, it's the opposite. You started out trembling because your blood sugar dropped and ended up getting nervous because of this adrenaline issue. This can happen mainly in people who go many hours without eating or who consume a lot of sugary foods. A large amount of sugar enters the bloodstream very quickly. So this can cause this rebound effect due to hyperinsulinemia to compensate. With whom drink a lot of coffee on an empty stomach or have insulin resistance. So these issues can end up worsening this condition. When your body has difficulty stabilizing glucose levels, it can lead to sudden spikes and drops in blood sugar, which may trigger or intensify these tremors. If you're someone who has noticed these specific symptoms and you tend to go many hours without eating or experience this shakiness, this tremor right after a meal, especially one high in sugar, what can you do to try to prevent this from happening? Try to consume more foods that help stabilize glucose, that is, foods rich in protein, fiber, or healthy fats, such as eggs, plain yogurt, nuts, chia seeds, avocado, protein itself, meat, chicken, fish, cheese. Try to add some of these nutrients along with carbohydrates to slow down their absorption and avoid such large fluctuations. Of course, for many people, this shakiness may not only be caused by glucose, but could also be due to certain minerals or vitamins, so it's important for us to talk about that. One of the nutrients that can cause shakiness when it's deficient is magnesium. Magnesium is an essential mineral. It's involved in more than 300 reactions in our body and in neuromuscular regulation. It plays a role in controlling calcium channels in nerve cells. So, when magnesium is low, neurons can become more excitable, which is the scientific term we use. This increased excitability means it's easier for that fine tremor to occur. So, magnesium deficiency is not uncommon, especially in people who consume few vegetables on a daily basis, have a very monotonous, very repetitive diet, or even a diet that's also low in seeds. They don't eat pumpkin seeds, chia, sunflower, sesame, flaxseed. They don't consume seeds in their daily routine. People who are very stressed, very anxious, tend to use up more magnesium, so they can also have a deficiency. So ideally, you should try to add more of these foods that are naturally rich in magnesium to see if, with this substitution, with the addition of these foods, you notice an improvement in your tremor. Good sources include pumpkin seeds, which I mentioned to you, almonds, 100% cocoa, spinach itself, chia seeds. These can be good options for you to try and see if they help with your tremor as well. Another vitamin that may be related to this tremor is vitamin B12. We know how important it is for the nervous system, especially for those over 50 years old. It is essential for the integrity of the nervous system and is involved in the formation of myelin, which is a protective sheath around our nerves, around the neurons. So, a deficiency in B12 can cause tingling, weakness, balance disturbances, and in more advanced cases, tremors as well. There are people who are in a higher risk group, such as those who have been taking metformin regularly for a long time under a doctor's prescription, so they need to have their B12 levels checked regularly. People who use medication for reflux like omeprazole, esomeprazole, pantoprazole for a prolonged period. Vegetarians and vegans, people who have a lot of restrictions on animal foods, may also have a B12 deficiency. And people with gastric problem due to the formation of intrinsic factor, especially older people as well. The natural sources of B12 are actually quite broad. They include meats, eggs, and dairy products. So often, a person might even consume these sources. But if they have difficulty absorbing them or forming intrinsic factor, they may have difficulty making this vitamin available for the body to absorb. So this is another important point for you to discuss with your doctor. There is yet another vitamin that may be related, which is B1 or thiamine, which is connected to the metabolism of neurons. So it is also very important for the energy metabolism of these nerve cells, and a more severe advanced deficiency can lead to neurological changes and tremors as well. It is found in pork, legumes, and seeds. So once again, people with very restrictive diets or people who consume a lot of alcoholic beverages may have a thiamine deficiency. So that's another thing worth paying attention to and discussing with your doctor. It's also worth mentioning here, when we talk about tremors, the role of coffee and caffeine. Because many people drink coffee all day long. They're very tired, slept very poorly, need more focus, and drink coffee in the morning, after lunch, at snack time. They keep drinking coffee, energy drinks, Coke, or foods that contain more caffeine throughout the day. And what does coffee do? It stimulates adrenaline, and adrenaline increases muscle instability. So, if you consume a lot of coffee, energy drinks, or other stimulants, you might experience shaking due to an exaggerated level of stimulation, which is something these substances can indeed produce physiologically in the body. So, if you drink coffee, you can try stopping it for a while to see whether this is related or not. Pay attention to how you feel, whether your symptoms improve, and whether your anxiety gets better or worse, because this could indeed be connected. Now, it's important for us to make it clear that if the tremor happens at rest, if it happens persistently, on one side of the body only, accompanied by stiffness or slowness of movement, it could be a sign of something more serious and medical follow-up may be necessary. So, remember that this video here is purely informational. It's just to help you in a complimentary way, but if you have been suffering from persistent tremors, it's very important that you see a doctor and find out what is causing the tremor. Because more important than anything is for you to know the cause of this tremor so you can treat it correctly. If you have any questions, talk to your doctor or your nutritionist in your city. So if you can, leave your like on the video and share this video with anyone you know who suffers from tremors. Let's expand this chain of kindness together. And tell me, did you already know about this role of foods? I would love to read your comment. See you next time. Bye.